I'll go right.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. And what a crazy ass last two games, man. Now, right now, I'm asking myself, do the referees actually respect us? Because these past few games, the game against Brooklyn and the game against Philly, in crunch time, the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, we seem to get no calls, and there's a lot of missed calls. I don't even know what the hell is going on. If the sort of Tim Donahue situation of how he used to play the Knicks when he got caught up in that gambling situation, because he did use the Knicks as a crutch to shed points. And I believe the rest of the league right now, they don't really have the respect as far as the referees for the Knicks, especially in crunch time, because no calls are going our way. Now, phone lines is open. There's going to be a few topics on the dockets regarding to the trade deadline. Definitely got.
I'll go right.
Tape. Now, we're going to talk about the referees. We're going to talk about Frank Ntilikina. Because, man, Frank the other night was looking like somebody else, a man possessed. And who do you guys want to see them trade for at the deadline? And once again, phone lines are open. This is definitely a short notice. I sent out the emails regarding the show. But I'm going to try this out during the daytime, see how this works out. But also, was the NBA ill-prepared for this game? Because last night they only had 2 referees out of 3. And I've never seen an NBA game in a long time only had 2 referees. So it definitely impacted last night's game, especially that call where the Knicks actually lost the possession where it was ruled out of bounds on Julius Randle, even though it hit off the knee of, I believe, Tobias Harris. So that was a crucial play last night, but there should have been a referee standing right there. So was the NBA ill-prepared for one of the other officials to be sick, going through protocols to have a quick replacement? And especially due to the fact that the NBA is headquartered in New York, why wasn't there a replacement? So once again, phone lines are open. You guys, let me hear from you. This is what this show is all about, so you guys can drop your 2 cents.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
So once again, phone lines are open. We're going to talk about Frank Ntilikina tonight. Has Thibs actually lit a fire underneath his ass? Because he was a man definitely possessed. And we're going to talk about, do the referees actually respect the Knicks in crunch time? Because the last two games, the games in Philly and the game against Brooklyn, it definitely things went kind of left during the crunch time, and especially due to the fact that none of the calls went our way, and even the calls that we challenged end up going our way. The referees seem to not respect the Knicks, and once again, Tim Donahue, the referee that got caught up in that scandal, he was using that kind of, reputation that the Knicks had throughout the media as being a dysfunctional franchise. He's using that against them by shedding points, and that's how he got caught up in that scandal. So I'm wondering if there's a trickle-down effect of the referees just not respecting the Knicks overall, because so far it's looking like it's pretty much costing us 2 games. Last night, once again, they did not accept Thibs' challenge. I don't know if you have to say the word challenge. I don't know if the league has to review what they're doing. Possibly, maybe a coach has to throw something on the court. Same thing like in the NFL, how they throw a flag. So there's no miscommunication as far as the coach actually wanting to take on a challenge. So once again, phone lines are open. You guys let me know what you think. Drop your 2 cents. And let me know what's on your mind.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, phone lines are open. I'm always glad to hear from you guys. Once again, there's a few things on the docket. Do the referees actually respect the Knicks in crunch time? And also, who do you want to see go or the Knicks even trade for at the deadline? And then the final thing on the docket is Thibs actually lit a fire underneath Frank Ntilikina's ass. We see him looking like a man possessed in that game against Philly. Was that Philly? I believe so. The game against, not Philly, the game before, but Frank was looking like a man possessed. I mean, Jesus Christ. The way he took it to the rack and got that and one, he got a lot stronger. And he was definitely more confident in his shot because he shot with no hesitation. So you guys let me know what you think. Once again, phone lines are open. I'm always glad to hear from you guys. And let me know what you think.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Drop your 2 cents. Now, once again, do the referees actually respect the Knicks enough in crunch time to give them benefit of the doubt? We seen last night that they actually called a loose ball foul on Randall, even though I believe the other player was Tobias Harris. He had no opportunity to get the rebound. And also when Thibs went on to challenge it, here's an issue that's going on right now. They're saying that they didn't actually hear the challenge or there was nothing to challenge, but there seems to be a miscommunication as far as the challenge, and this is being across the league. I'm warning that the league right now are gonna have to implement maybe the same thing like the NFL does, where the coach actually throws a flag. There's like a almost like a visual signal, so there won't be no miscommunication as far as, okay, I'm challenging this play. There's no doubt I'm challenging this play because I'm throwing a flag. I'm doing something in which the referees could see me on camera. I'm clearly challenging a play because there clearly was some sort of miscommunication last night. So once again, the phone lines are open. You guys let me know what you think. Definitely drop your 2 cents. Also, the Knicks do have a tough schedule ahead of them. They have the 5th hardest schedule after the All-Star break, according to some of the rankings. But overall, right now, some of the games that we did give up early after the All-Star break is going to maybe come back to haunt us. But the Eastern Conference is definitely changing as far as the landscape. We got teams like the Charlotte Hornets that may actually fall off with LaMelo's ball injury. LaMelo did get hurt. I believe he broke his wrist, so he's out for the remainder of the season. There are other teams coming up like the Miami Heat are looking fully strong and healthy. The Wizards for a second were coming up, but now in the last 10 games, they're about 2-8, and we're about to play them back-to-back games. So these are going to be very crucial games for us to play because after the Wizards, we got definitely more difficult matchups. We're going to play against the Heat again. We have the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, definitely, because the season is pretty much, being ran through right now, pretty much 2 days off. And then we have a game here and there. It's a shorter season. So with a difficult schedule like that, we're going to have to take advantage. We're going to have to take advantage of games like when we play against teams like Orlando or the sub 500 teams to kind of stay in that middle of that pack of that Eastern Conference. Because we even see teams like the Toronto Raptors, they're starting to get their footing together. There's a few other teams in the Eastern Conference that are starting to come back up and get back to what they were used to doing last season. So in order to stay in the middle of that pack, we're going to have to continue doing our thing. But once again, phone lines are open. And the main topic is, do the referees actually respect the Knicks in crunch time? And the phone information is definitely in the description. Give me a call. Let me know what you think and drop your 2 cents. And also, we're gonna talk about Frank Ntilikina, man. Has Thibs actually lit a fire underneath his ass? Because we seen him looking like a man possessed in the game in Orlando, especially when he got that and one. Frank took it to the rack with no hesitation, and he fully took that contact, and he was able to finish. Frank got definitely a lot stronger, and he hit a lot of clutch 3-point shots with no hesitation. So Frank was looking like a new man out there. He was looking like, some sort of Wall Clyde Frazier. I don't know if he walked into the garden with some drip, but he was feeling like the man the other night. So definitely let me know what you guys think about Frank. Could he get more burn, or could he take advantage of the few minutes that he's getting? Because he's getting a decent amount of times. He's playing about 14 minutes, 16 minutes here. The other night against Orlando, he got about 27 minutes. But Frank is going to have to take advantage of, especially with Derrick Rose being out, he's going to have to take advantage and show Thibs what he could do. Show him that he got at least some sort of maturation towards his game, towards his confidence. Let me know what you guys think about Frank. And once again, the main thing on the docket is, do the refs actually respect the Knicks in crunch time? Because we're getting a lot of bogus calls out here. A lot of bogus calls where we got to challenge plays nonstop. The refs, once again, in the game in Brooklyn, they had a miscommunication on that jump ball. They called the foul. And also in Philly, they actually reversed the call, which I thought wasn't enough evidence on Julius Randle touching the ball last. It definitely went off, I believe, Tobias Harris's knee. And all of a sudden, they're calling a freaking turnover on the Knicks that there was actually enough evidence in the replay to actually reverse the call. Because the initial call was the ball was for the Knicks. But then when they went to the replay, they saw enough evidence to reverse it, which I found very strange. But once again, last night, there was only 2 referees instead of 3. So there should have been a referee right then and there to view the ball going out of bounds if it was off of Randle or if it was off that player's knee. So once again, was the NBA even ill-prepared for that Knicks game last night? Because to only have 2 referees when you're supposed to have 3, there should have been an instant replacement. And also, New York City is headquarters of the NBA. They should have had something in the tuck. Someone to call, hey, we need you to ref this game. Get down there. We're gonna, scan you, make sure you don't have any virus or anything. Get down there. And it was very strange that the Knicks only had 2 referees. But once again, when the game came down to crunch time, it kind of got exposed that the other referee should have been right there to try to make that judgment call. And that ended up biting us in the ass. So was the league ill-prepared? When I say ill-prepared, I found it very strange that they didn't have a replacement, especially knowing that the fact that guys are going to have to go through protocols before entering the arena. So if someone doesn't pass, they're pretty much asked out. So you got to have a replacement here and there. So definitely, you guys let me know what you think. Do the refs even respect the Knicks in crunch time? And also, was the league ill-prepared for that game last night as far as having a replacement ref?
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, phone lines are open. Definitely, you guys let me know what you think. Check out the description below to get all that call-in information. And definitely know what let me know what you guys think. Because once again, the referees, they've definitely been on our asses, in the game against Brooklyn and in this game against Philly. And do they respect us in crunch time? And then the other things in the docket is Frank Ntilikina has Thibs actually lit a fire underneath his ass. Because Frank was looking like a man possessed in the game in Orlando. And then the third thing on the docket is, who do you guys like to see the Knicks trade for at the deadline? Perhaps, they can go after one of these guys that are going to potentially get bought out. Or should they make a push to get maybe a player like Zach LaVine or, another dynamic player, perhaps at point guard, or just another playmaker, a guy who can set other guys up, maybe RJ Barrett or Julius Randle in the clutch, instead of these guys having to create everything off the fly. You know what I mean? Because right now with Julius Randle and RJ, they haven't really gotten enough reps in the clutch to sort of, you know, be more assertive or just make a quick decision. We've seen the Knicks, especially in that game against I believe what game was that against, with Julius Randle having the ball. He got called for the travel, and it was just lack of being decisive. He seemed like, pretty hesitant. Was he gonna pass the ball? Was he gonna shoot? I mean, the Knicks in crunch time, they've been really, suspect, because we don't really have identity in crunch time. We've seen in the games against Miami Heat in the back-to-back, when it came down to crunch time, RJ Barrett missing that layup, the Knicks the game before giving up the lead. We don't really have that playmaker. Perhaps Derrick Rose can come in and fill that, but up to only a certain point, because he's going to be on a minute restriction. But we need another guy that's going to set guys up, so we don't have to be looking like the Clippers last year in the bubble, where we see our superstars just primarily trying to make a play and trying to set themselves up, instead of a real point guard or real playmaker initiating that penetration and setting guys up. So definitely let me know what you guys think.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, phone lines are open, and you guys give me a call and drop your 2 cents. And also, you guys definitely hit me up and let's talk about, what's going on with the challenge situation. The league right now, it seems like there was a miscommunication between Thibs and the refs, where I don't know if they want him to say the word challenge, or what's the exact protocols for coaches to challenge the play. Like in the NFL, guys toss out the flags, the challenge flags, which is, I believe, red, or yeah, it's a red flag the coach tosses out his pocket. So there's no miscommunication. There's a visual of the coach actually challenging the play. So there can never be a miscommunication. Oh, did he challenge it? Did he not? He didn't say the word challenge. Like, I feel like the league needs to kind of be more direct, kind of redefine their rules as far as the challenge, because last night was just a scar on just the officiating. For Thibs to challenge the play, and to even call a timeout, and for them still not to get the clear communication that Thibs had an issue with the play, and the Knicks had a challenge and he wanted them to review it, and they didn't. So that's just another major issue. And we see in the game against Brooklyn, where they were supposed to review a play because it was under 2 minutes, and they did not end up reviewing the play. And that was a play where Julius Randle got called for that travel. So they should have reviewed it to see if the ball did get blocked, because the ball did get blocked and Julius Randle lost possession of the ball for a split second. So once again, that's why I say, do the referees respect the Knicks in crunch time? Because there's been a lot of just calls that just don't go our way at all. We don't get any benefit of the doubt. So definitely, you guys, let me know what you think. Phone lines are open. The link is definitely in the description. Let me know what you think.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
And also, who do you guys want to see the Knicks trade for at the deadline? Should we go after one of these guys that are potentially gonna get bought out, or should we make a trade, a push for a dynamic playmaker in which we really need to set guys up in the clutch? Because once again, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, they really haven't established an identity yet in the clutch to be more assertive, to make a more direct decision. We see where things are kind of gray, even in the game in Brooklyn, in which Julius Randle was up in the air and he was trying to make a decision. Even though did get blocked, he lost possession of the ball for a bit. But this is not the only game where we see the Knicks kind of look in flux during crunch time. The back-to-back games in against Miami early in the season, the Knicks in crunch time, they don't really seem to have that identity. So that is another topic on the docket. But once again, the main topic is the referees and the lack of respect they have for the Knicks. In crunch time, we get no benefit of the doubt at all. And there's a lot of mistakes. And just the communication, man, the communication for the challenges, the coach's challenge. It's in a gray area with the league because last night against Philly, they're saying that they did not see Thibs communicate or even say the word challenge. So does the NBA need to probably put a visual on the challenge? And when I say visual, I mean the same thing like in the NFL, how the coaches toss the flag out their pocket and the flag is a specific color. So it's on camera that there is no doubt that the coach challenged the play. And then they could even see if the challenge was even made with the correct timing. Let's say before another play had to start back up or before a guy took a free throw, they can always go back to the cameras because now that's a thing of the league. You know, the games are a lot slower now. We lose momentum. I mean, we even lost momentum last night when they just kept looking at the replay and it took so long. So these are types of things that the league is going to have to tweak. But definitely, I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. Once again, phone lines are open.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
And definitely drop your 2 cents. What up, Bodega? Yeah, I seen him talking about Eric Gordon. He's going to be available, but he may actually want to join a team that's more established because I'm not sure if he has a clause in his contract where he's going to want to go somewhere where he agrees to the trade. So I'm not sure if the Knicks is going to be his destination, or even if Orlando's, they may ask for too much. Because I don't think Eric Gordon is going to move the needle, you know, for maybe like a first round pick or just a pick in a young player. Let's say if they wanted a pick and quickly, Gordon is not going to move the needle enough for us to actually initiate that trade. Unless Thibs see that he fits into a system perfectly. You never know with Thibs because we see Thibs bring out the best in players. We see Joakim Noah, you know, play good out in Chicago with Thibs, Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson. We've seen players, you know, that normally would be mid-level, you know, kind of lower mid-level players end up having spectacular seasons with Thibs. So Thibs, he does have an effect on guys. I mean, look at Alec Burks last night. He's definitely doing his thing. Noel plays a lot different. You know, guys play different under Thibs. There's more tenacity. There's a different energy. Yeah, Denver would probably be a good spot for Eric Gordon, but I'm thinking about what's that pick that they have that they said the Knicks should have got? Porter Jr. He's a bit overrated because he actually averages the same amount of points as Knox last season, even though he pretty much played the whole season. But yet there's this notion that Porter Jr. is a star and he doesn't play any defense. So once again, Knox pretty much averaged the same thing as him. I believe Knox actually averaged more rebounds, but Porter Jr. averaged 7 points per game last season. So I don't know what's all this hype about. Yeah, he's a high flyer, but there's plenty of high flyers throughout the league that pretty much are pretty much role players. But Bodega Wi-Fi, give me a call, man. The link is in the description. I'll be glad to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Definitely drop your 2 cents, man. Get your perspective on things.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, things on the docket. Has Thibs actually lit a fire underneath Frank Ntilikina's ass? Because we seen him look completely different in Orlando in that game. I mean, he was looking like a man possessed. He was able to finish, take the ball to the cup, and just take that contact and fully finish. And then with no hesitation, he was taking a lot of clutch threes and making them. And also, do the referees respect the Knicks in crunch time? I mean, we seen against the game in Brooklyn and in the game in Philly, the Knicks seem to not get calls their way, and the refs, I think subconsciously because of the reputation the media has dragged the Knicks through because of the beef with James Dolan, they sort of have this cloud over the referee's head as far as, like, you know, the lack of respect that they have for the Knicks. Oh, they just always seem to give other teams that play against us the benefit of the doubt, but we never get it at all. And we actually seen this play out with the referee that got caught up in the gambling issue, Tim Donahue, I believe that's his name. He actually got caught up because Vegas kind of saw a track record he had when he ref games against the Knicks. He seemed to call a lot of fouls on the Knicks just to get that point spread to hit a certain point. So once again, the referees are aware of the reputation that the Knicks used to have. So I'm wondering if that is continuing to go against us, because there is a lack of respect for the calls that we get. I mean, we seen Frank Ntilikina come in the game in Brooklyn and quickly get 5 fouls. I mean, some of those fouls he barely touched the player. But just because he's playing hard defense, he's a young player and he's on the Knicks, they're gonna give Kyrie or James Harden the benefit of the doubt, even though some of those calls weren't a foul. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Once again, phone lines are open. Let me know what you think.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
A 5 that could space the floor. I don't know, Bodega. It's gonna be difficult because Randall's almost doing that right now. Randall actually is making a lot of good passes, man, surprisingly. Because, you know, last season we all seen him kind of revert to the player he was in his first 2 years with the Lakers, where he was just like dribbling the ball, over dribbling, turning the ball over. That shit looked scary every time he had the rock, you know, at the top of the key. But Randall definitely is, you know, creating different spaces, getting other guys open. But a stretch 5, we might need someone. I don't know. I think we need a more dynamic player in the wing to set guys up a lot better. And then even if Julius Randle ends up setting other guys up, at least we have another dynamic playmaker, especially in the clutch, to get Julius Randle the ball actually down low. Let's say we're down by 1. Julius Randle doesn't have to dribble the ball at the top of the key from the 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? We can get another wing player that's more of a playmaker that can set things up so Randle could get the ball down low where he continues to do his thing. Or he can get that Chris Webber mid-range jump shot, which he's been killing at. Yeah, Randall and RJ desperately need help. They need one more dynamic player, because right now they're kind of looking like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. See, the issue with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George is that they don't have a point guard to set them up. So last year in the bubble, we seen them kind of go into this ISO mode, trying to set other guys up or trying to set themselves up. They've never been those type of players, even though they can do it, but they can't do it for 40 minutes in a whole game. I mean, we just seen kind of like your turn, my turn. So the same thing's happening with Randall and RJ, especially in crunch time, where guys is just trying to set themselves up. When in reality, if we had like I'm not saying necessarily has to be this guy, but I'm just giving an example. A guy like Kyle Lowry, maybe he can make that initial penetration and then make that pass. Or just another, it could be a shooting guard. It could be another guy who can create off the dribble and get other guys open. Like last night, we seen Alec Burks actually play at point guard. So Alec Burks, he kind of became that playmaker last night, especially in that overtime. He was creating off the dribble. He had a couple of nice layups where he took it to the rack and had a couple of nice finishes. We need a player like that. Derrick Rose, he used to be able to do that consistently at a very high intensity, but now it seems like he can only do that maybe for about 20 minutes a game. He can't do that for the full game. So I don't know if he's going through protocols right now or just, it's just a slight injury, but, we need one more player that's a player maybe like Zach LaVine's archetype. I wouldn't mind the Knicks packaging maybe those picks that they have for 2021 for Zach LaVine. A guy that just, about to hit the age of 26, sort of in the same range as Julius Randle. And RJ is a bit younger, but RJ is hitting a point where he's gonna hit his third year and he's not gonna want to play with a guy that's 19 coming into the league so fresh and so young, because that's what the Minnesota Timberwolves are going through. They have good young players, but they're so far ahead of guys that are just coming into the league. You can't keep lining up a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns with a very young rookie. He's starting to hit that point where he's making the All-Star games consistently, and he needs to go up to that next level. So he probably needs a player maybe 3 years older than him, 4 years older than him to take that next step. And that's kind of where RJ is starting to go at. RJ, the way he's maturing, he's going to hit that point where you don't want to take a very young 19-year-old draft pick and line them up right next to RJ. It's like, damn, RJ is trying to take that next step up. That's why you see today in the league, there's a lot of young teams that had first-round picks from like 4 or 5 years ago, and then when they packaged them up with a new first-round pick from like this year, the shit never meshes, because one guy, even though he's not that much older, he's so far ahead of that 19-year-old. Yeah, everyone seems to talk about Fournier, that shooting guard out of Orlando, but I don't think he's moving the needle for a lot of teams, man. He's not really moving the needle. He could possibly move the needle for like a team that's really deep, but he's not gonna move the needle for the Knicks. I don't think so. We need another dynamic playmaker. Maybe he can move the needle for a team like maybe Denver that got a playmaker, or even a team like the Clippers, teams that are more established. Maybe he can do that for them, but not us. See, that's a dilemma about the trade deadline. A lot of teams are looking to either get worse or get a lot better, take the next step up to the next level. And they got to ask themselves, like, is the player we're trading for going to help us take that next step? Because what fucked up the trade market is that Jrue Holiday trade. That Jrue Holiday trade completely fucked up the market, because the fact that they got 3 first-round draft picks for Jrue Holiday is crazy. I mean, can you imagine that? 3 first-round draft picks just for Jrue Holiday? So can you imagine if an actual superstar hit the free agency market, how many draft picks you have to give up for that guy. So a lot of teams are kind of using that Drew Holiday shit as like a benchmark of what they can get. And that's what pretty much fucked up the market this season. Yo, Kelly Oubre, man, is too inconsistent. He's almost like a slightly better version of Swaggy P. Slightly, barely, but he's mad inconsistent. I'm not surprised the Warriors play good one game and then they look lackluster the next, because they got Andrew Wiggins and they got Kelly Oubre. Like that's not surprising at all. I wouldn't go for a guy like that. He's actually a bench player who could average like 15 points per game. He's probably actually where Jordan Clarkson used to be at, but now Jordan Clarkson took the next step up where he could be that consistent guy. He's working on his consistency and his efficiency, and Kelly Oubre, he hasn't got up to that point yet. Yeah, I feel you, but I mean, we look at, Drew Holiday, he's a good player, but the fact that he just got, the fact that that New Orleans got 3 first-round picks for Drew Holidays is nuts. It's crazy. That really fucked up the market. That's why the Houston Rockets was asking for crazy amount of picks for James Harden, because they saw that and it basically opened the floodgates for them. They're like, listen, Drew Holiday went for 3 first-round picks. And he's not, he's a good player, but he's not going to be that key piece of your franchise. James Harden, he could change your franchise as far as the regular season. He can take you up to 60 wins plus. But Drew Holiday is not really doing that. You got to have a level guy. Drew Holiday could be that kind of B level or A minus. He's not really A minus. He's kind of like a B plus, hovering that to your A level star. But once again, Drew Holiday, the fact that the Pelicans got 3 first-round picks for him, that shit fucked up the trade market for everybody. It made it really hard to make trades. And I would not be surprised if this Thursday, March 25th, with the trade deadline, if nothing really happens. Because I believe a lot of teams are going to be asking for too much. And that's what I'm kind of afraid of with the Knicks with Zach LaVine. If they wanted to go after him, the Bulls are going to ask for a lot, man. It's like, they're going to be like, they could always say, hey, Drew Holiday, they gave up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. Can you imagine Zach LaVine? But once again, phone lines are open. The link is in the description. You guys definitely let me know what you think and drop your 2 cents.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, the topics on the docket. We're talking about the trade deadline, who you guys want to see the Knicks trade for, and also do the referees actually respect the Knicks in crunch time. So once again, phone lines are open. The link is in the description. Definitely, you guys let me know and drop your 2 cents. And also, once again, for you guys that didn't really peep last night, there was only 2 referees instead of 3. One of the referees had to go through protocols. So was the league actually prepared for this game? The fact that the game took place where the league is headquartered and they didn't have a replacement ref is really questionable. And due to the fact that in that game, when Julius Randle had actually lost possession of the ball because it hit off the knee of, I believe, Tobias Harris, there was no referee underneath the basket, and that third referee would have been right there. So it's very ironic that the game pretty much did come down to a play that they end up reversing, but a referee should have initially been underneath the basket. So was the league ill prepared for that game? Because they should have definitely had replacement refs, knowing that everyone has to go through protocols in order to enter the game. So definitely let me know. So definitely, you guys let me know what you think. Once again, the topics are the referees. Do they have respect for the Knicks? Was the league ill prepared to ref that game last night against Philly? And also, has Thibs lit a fire underneath Frank Ntilikina's ass? Because we see him looking like a new man in the game against Orlando.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Also, last night, man, Jesus Christ, Danny Green, where the fuck did he come from shooting like that? I mean, there was some Irish luck. I swear to God, against the Knicks, it's always a player on the other squad that hasn't done shit the last 10 games that comes out of nowhere and gets this Walt Disney Mighty Ducks superpowers bullshit and just starts making all these shots. I mean, where the hell did Danny Green come from? This guy was everywhere defensively last night, and he was just making all those 3-pointers going into the overtime and even in the overtime. I mean, thank God for Alec Burks. He was definitely doing his thing to basically combat what Danny Green was doing. But at the end of the day, that game once again came down to the referees reversing that call on Julius Randle with the ball hitting the knee of, I believe, Tobias Harris and going out of bounds. They're saying Julius Randle touched the ball, but I don't know what evidence they actually saw to reverse that call. Remember, you have to get full evidence to reverse a call. So I don't know what the hell did they see in order to switch that call over. Once again, that's why it comes down to, do the referees even respect the Knicks in crunch time to even give us the benefit of the doubt? Because best believe, if they wanted to reverse it for us and it was the other way around, they would have to see 100% full evidence in order to make that reversal. So once again, do we get the benefit of the doubt in crunch time?
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Once again, phone lines are open. The link is in the description below, or you guys can hit up the group chat. Let me know what you think. Definitely drop your 2 cents. Yeah, what up, May 4th? That is true. Definitely win more games. We wouldn't have to worry about the refs. But at the end of the day, we're seeing them just make a lot of judgment calls just basically against us. Like, there's no benefit of doubt. Like, you would have to explain that reversal call on Julius Randle last night. There was not really 100% evidence to say, okay, we got to reverse this call and give the ball back to Philly, because it clearly hit off the player's knee, but there was no clear camera angle where we saw the ball hitting the fingertips of Julius Randle. It was a kind of like a 50-50. It was like, it looked like it could have touched his fingertips, but we didn't see the ball change any direction. So, but yet they still reversed the call. You can't really reverse the call unless there was 100% evidence. Because the initial call was the Knicks ball. It hit off the player's knee. But then they went to the replay and saw that it hit off the player's knee, but that Julius Randle's fingertips could have been in the way, but the ball never changed directions. And we never really got a full camera angle of Julius Randle actually tipping the ball. But yet it was still enough evidence for them to reverse it, even though it wasn't even clear. These are the type of calls I'm talking about. And then for Thibs to challenge the play, for them to not even understand the challenge, like he didn't communicate the word challenge. It was just a miscommunication there. And then you look back in the game against Brooklyn, for them to not even go to the replay when Julius Randle said he got blocked. They should have just went to the replay anyway. Had it been LeBron James, you best believe they would have went to the replay. I mean, that's the rules of the league. Reviews under 2 minutes, is going to consistently happen. But yet it didn't happen for us. Even though if they didn't believe Julius Randle, they were still obligated according to the league rules to go to the replay. Why didn't they do that then? This is what I mean. Like, there's a lack of respect for the Knicks. And once again, May 4th, you look at that situation with Tim Donahue when he got caught up with that gambling situation. Where did they reference to? They kept referencing to him. They kept referencing him to reffing Knicks games where he was shedding points and he was calling bogus fouls against the Knicks. So the referees are aware of the reputation that the Knicks have. So if they make a bullshit call, the repercussions are not going to be as harsh because they understand that the media drags the reputation of the Knicks due to James Dolan. But once again, phone lines are open. The link is in the description below. It'd be great to hear from you guys. Get some of your perspectives, and you guys dropping your 2 cents. Bodega Wi-Fi. I think it's the beef with the Daily News. It seems like that whole James Dolan situation with the Daily News taking away their passes into the Garden. It seems like it had a trickle down effect, like the silencing of the Daily News. It seems like the rest of the media, like a mafia, you mess with one member, everybody takes offense to it, and it seems like I actually wouldn't be surprised if someone up top at ESPN used to work or is affiliated with the Daily News. They know someone, or maybe someone's a family member there. There's some sort of affiliation, because for them to let some of the analysts, just go on TV and talk the way they do about James Dolan, even though he's kind of a business partner of, their network. He is an NBA owner, which is a major business partner of ESPN. For them to drag him through the mud the way that they do, someone is definitely green lighting that, because they don't talk about the other owners like that. And there's far worse owners. For example, the owner in Minnesota, far worse. I mean, you can't fuck up 100 first overall picks, man. Like, he almost ruined Kevin Garnett's career. Matter of fact, Kevin Garnett even beefs with the Minnesota Timberwolves because of that owner. I mean, you can't get any worse than that guy. But once again, phone lines are open. Definitely, you guys let me know what you think. The topics on the docket is: do the refs respect the Knicks in crunch time? And has Thibs actually lit a fire underneath Frank Ntilikina's ass? Because he was looking like a brand new man in that game against Orlando. And who do you want to see the Knicks actually make a move for at the Thursday trade deadline?
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
Yeah, Bodega Wi-Fi. That's a good point. Yeah, that probably had a major issue because, I noticed sometimes when the Knicks do play on ESPN on a national TV game, they sometimes still air it on MSG. There was a few years back, it used to be like that. Up until recently, I believe when they negotiated that brand new TV deal, they stopped doing that. But there was a time period where if the Knicks played on ESPN, the games were still on MSG. And you're right, there might be a point of conflict right there. But once again, I would not be surprised because the media is really a small business as far as the employees. Like a lot of people circle from one company to another one. They move around like musical chairs. And I would not be surprised if someone up top at ESPN used to have an affiliation with the Daily News or they used to work there. Max Kellerman is I wouldn't say Max Kellerman is one of them, but Max Kellerman used to work for a media outlet that got silenced by James Dolan. He's mentioned it quite a few times on that show that they got. I mean, I see you like Scotty Barnes in the draft, but I'm not even looking at the draft, to be honest with you right now, because I believe the Knicks are just looking ahead. They're trying to get up to the next level, which is that kind of mid-level team that competes in the middle of the pack every season to get into the playoffs. And then they're going to take another step from there to try to get up to that next level, which is going to be a top contending team to try to make the finals. I think just the way that Thibs operates and the team around Leon Rose, the Knicks can steadily continue to make strides every season to not even care about the draft, even if it's a good draft, to just keep moving forward because they have guys overall in the coaching staff, in the front office that got very good reputation and already have relationships with a lot of players throughout the league. So they can automatically start getting guys off rip. They just need to prove that that toxic media environment is not going to be around the team as far as like things leaking out, because you see Leon Rose, he's very tight with the information. Nobody in the media really knows what the Knicks front office is trying to do. Shit is really tight in there, like really, really tight. It's not like the way things were before where you would see guys like, what's his name, Steve Mills, sometimes react according to what the media is starting to say. Especially Steve Mills, man. He was one of the worst as far as talent GMs. As far as the money, he's good. But as far as the talent, he is awful. But once again, phone lines are open. I'm going to leave it open for 20 more minutes. You guys got any questions, you could toss it up on the chat. Just trying out a mid kind of afternoon show today. But definitely sign up for the email list. That way you guys can get alerted when the live shows are happening. You guys can call in, give your 2 cents. Definitely all perspectives are welcome here. Definitely talk it out. And yeah, definitely drop your 2 cents, man. This is what 8th Avenue Conversation is all about. It's all about you guys kind of giving your perspectives on the squad and what's going on. Yeah, I don't know where Max Kellerman did work at before. If it's all was on the radio, it definitely was a media outlet where his bosses were definitely silenced, you know, as far as MSG, their credentials, where they can go. Cause his beef with James Dolan is really, really personal. How can the fans hold referees accountable? The fans or teams, how can they hold the referees accountable? There's no way. The league would have to do it. The only way I would say the fans could hold the refs accountable is by not watching the product. That's it. That's the only way. But the league is gonna the league is the referees in a way, because the league is responsible for the sort of like the G League of the referees, like for the referees to come up and, you know, practice in the G League, then take the next step up to coaching games. The referees are sort of under the umbrella of the league. The league is responsible for all that. The development of the referees, making sure the next generation of refs have, you know, a reference point from the previous generation to learn new things. And I remember Mark Cuban, he was talking about this. He was saying how in the NBA kind of leaves the responsibility of finding new referees up to like a few referees, like 3 referees, I believe it was, and one of them is a retired cop. So he looks for a lot of retired cops, and kind of puts them on into being an NBA ref, which is really strange. And Mark Cuban was saying also that these referees tend to hire their family members, and then they tend to hire everyone from one region. And I believe a lot of the referees, they come from the Midwest region. A lot of them come out of Ohio. He was saying the whole structure of the referees, the whole system was questionable, and that the league needed to take more of an initiative instead of just giving the responsibilities to another guy. So there's definitely a few things questionable about the way the league approaches the refs. They might not have as much money invested in resources as far as developing them. And we seen it even last night when one of the refs went through the protocols, he got pulled out of the game, but yet the league didn't even have a replacement for him, which makes no sense. Like, what if all 3 referees end up not passing protocols? Why doesn't the league have another backup situation? It's not like this game was in Oklahoma City. This game last night was in New York City, the headquarters of the NBA. Why wasn't there a replacement official to come over to go through protocols? If you passed it, bong, put him in the game. It's this very gray area. You know what it is? I think the reason why the league doesn't want to make a full report card on blown calls is that they don't want that report card actually leaking out into the media. Man, can you imagine if somehow like TMZ had gotten footage? Well, TMZ, aka I believe the feds. Imagine they got footage of, or just documents of all the blown calls that the league actually agreed that the calls were blown. Can you imagine how many fan bases would be going insane? So I think the league, that's why the league is very honest, it's very gray about that. You know, documenting guys and just having records. I think they just rather talk to guys one on one. That way there's no like record of it. Because if they have like a visual record, like paperwork on just all the blown calls, and that shit leaks out to TMZ or just another media outlet, oh man, it's gonna be all hell. All hell's gonna break loose. That's crazy. Can you imagine if there was a report card on the 2006 NBA Finals where Dwayne Wade shot all them, free throws? Even though a lot of people think that finals was rigged, but it really wasn't. The rule was rigged. See, Dwayne Wade knew that if he went up against a center in the paint, the league rules at the time was more than likely that shit was a foul. But they changed the rules right after that. So that took away a lot of points from D Wade in the paint. I mean, even though he's a legendary player, he still got his points. But these guys were manipulating the rules. So that's just one prime example. But yeah, like a report card on the referees and their officiating would be insane. If that shit leaks out, nah, man, it's not gonna be good for the league. It's gonna be a major scar. Like, can you imagine just this season alone with all those like blown calls? If a report card had leaked out on these referees, oh man, it'll be real bad. It's bad enough the players, are starting to speak out in the media against the referees, even though the league changed the rules and started fining guys for that. They're still doing it. That's how bad this shit has gotten. But overall, they just need to tidy up their procedures as far as the refs coming into their beginning phases of just starting to ref NBA games in the G League, and just, how they come up. What are they learning? Where do they come from? I mean, if Mark Cuban, if what he said was true, a lot of them come from the same region, which is very strange. Yeah, Harden does the same thing. He manipulates the rules. You're right about that. But once again, the thing about James Harden is that the way he plays, it doesn't really create a good television product. It's not a good TV product. To see a guy just dribble by himself, step back, 3-point shot every time, the viewers don't want to see that on TV. They rather see guys, high flying, making plays, big men just getting dunks, dunking on guys. It's just the game is not as entertaining. The basketball game is overall an art. With James Harden and just the way they kind of tailored the rules around him, it takes away a lot from the game itself. It just kind of makes it more one-dimensional. But in my opinion, James Harden is the modern day Charles Barkley, a guy that's, really talented. Everyone kind of, gives him acclaim, but he'll never win a championship. I mean, maybe in this team in Brooklyn he will, but look all the help he needed. It's just Charles Barkley had a squad that should have made the finals multiple times, just like James Harden, but they always fell short. That's why I say James Harden is the modern day Charles Barkley. But going back to the Knicks, just I noticed yesterday with Alec Burks, man, just doing his thing, and the way Thibs kind of had him playing point guard. Thibs always brings out something different in players. He has a long track record of it now. It's just in Chicago where Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler. We even seen Nate Robinson eliminate the Brooklyn Nets in that playoff series. He was looking like Allen Iverson. Like, Thibs does something where he brings out the best in guys. So, sometimes the way Emmanuel Quickley is playing, it's not really a surprise. I mean, that's all credit to him, but also to Thibs. Thibs gets guys prepared for every single game. Thibs is pretty much relentless. He comes from that Van Gundy camp. where guys are just studying film and just are pretty much obsessive with the game. Sort of like John Gruden in the NFL, like how he's a film room junkie. Thibs is sort of the same guy. Yeah, Brooklyn does have to stay healthy, but that's pretty much that shows you pretty much how much help James Harden really needed just to win a finals. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he had good help in Houston. He had Dwight Howard, CP3, Russell Westbrook. I mean, you look at the names he played with, but they didn't even make the finals. And that's sort of the same thing that happened to Charles Barkley after he lost in the finals. The years after, even when Jordan retired, he should have been in the finals after that again. But they kept falling short, even though their team in a way kind of got slightly better. But he kept falling short over and over. It was just always a lack of details that they didn't pay attention to, and they end up losing the series. Yeah, James Harden kind of falling through the same path. But as far as Brooklyn, there's something up with KD that they're not saying. Something is up with KD. I don't think they pulled him because of COVID protocols. They possibly pulled him from that game because they probably gave him a scan earlier that day, and they saw something as far as injury. It could be something related to that Achilles injury he had. Something that they pulled him from the game like that. They saw something that they didn't like because he's been out for a minute now. But as far as KD, something is up with that injury that they're not telling us for sure. But once again, phone lines are open. I'll be glad to hear from you guys to drop your 2 cents. And let me know what's on your mind.
A lot of thoughts on the mind, man. Let's speak, though.
All right, I'm going to leave the phone lines open for a few more minutes. I know a lot of you guys got work. I just was trying a midday show, mid-afternoon show to see, if this was a better time slot, trying to figure out pretty much a better time slot where, more guys are available. Perhaps they're at home, they're chilling. They're about to have a nice, drink on the rocks and, they're about to kick back and they can call up. But, I'm still working out the kinks. But definitely appreciate you guys' patience. And definitely shout out to the dudes in the chat. Some good ass questions in there, man. Be glad to hear from you guys. I'm not sure if some of y'all is at work right now. I know Bodega said he was at work. But definitely it'd be pretty dope to hear from you guys on the phone too. Just to the guys in the group chat, what do you guys think about Frank Ntilikina in that game against Orlando? My man was looking like he came into the arena looking like Walt Clyde Frazier, man. Like the way he was just playing, it's like he was about to leave the arena with a mink coat on. You know, Bodega Wi-Fi, that's true. The playoffs would be interesting if KD and LeBron stayed hurt. But you know, it's also going to be interesting to see the way that the media reacts when they realize that Giannis possibly could win MVP again, but they're kind of trying to downplay him to not winning the award. I never seen no shit like that. Like the guy clearly has the numbers to be in the MVP race, but they don't want to give it to him just because. Like this shit makes no sense at all. But I would not be surprised if the Bucks find themselves in a good positions to possibly be in the finals or possibly even win the championship. That's if Brooklyn doesn't stay healthy. But even if so, man, I like to see Brooklyn in that 7-game series against the Bucks. That'll be very interesting. Yeah, Frank does have to stay consistent. He would have to make the most usage out of the minutes that he's gonna play, because his minutes are very limited. It's gonna be like 14 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 7 minutes here. He's gonna have to really, and it's tough to really make an impact that quick. You know, sometimes you gotta get warmed up while you're in the court, but it's gonna be really, really tough. He's gonna have to stay focused. But yeah, Frank has put in the work. I mean, we seen that in the game against Orlando. Frank definitely put in the work. He's definitely gotten stronger. His 3-point shot got a lot better. It just has to be more consistent. But he's definitely making strides. But I'm just wondering if he's making strides fast enough for the new Knicks regime with Thibs and Leon Rose. I mean, we'll see this summer when it comes to looking at his contract, if they're going to extend it or, you know, just renew him overall. I believe his rookie extension is done. His rookie scale extensions, the Knicks used up all of them already. Knox is going to enter his last year of that rookie scale extension, I think, next season. And then the Knicks would have to really give him a real contract after that. So, you know, this year is Frank. We'll see how the Knicks really feel about him. But next year, we'll see how the Knicks really feel about Knox. Yeah, Frank maybe in the mid-range needs to take more shots, but Frank is more like a system player. You have to have a system in place, but I would not be surprised if even if the Knicks did not re-sign Frank and he went to a team like San Antonio, I would not be surprised if like Popovich just develops him into a different player. He's not going to be like a 20 points per game player, but a guy who could average like 11 points. He could really be a great defensive player and puts up like 2 steals a game, 2 blocks. Like that would pretty much be Frank's peak. Frank's peak is looking like 15 points per game averaging, 45% shooting, 2 blocks, 2 steals, or 1 point something blocks, 1 point something steals. That seems like that could be his peak. He could just be an efficient kind of role player. Yeah, John Collins. See, the thing about him in the Atlanta Hawks are gonna want a lot for him. Once again, that Drew Holiday shit, it really fucked up the trade market for the NBA. It just really did, because every team is looking at what they got for Drew Holiday. And some of these teams are gonna evaluate their players higher than Drew. Because Drew Holiday, at the end of the day, he's a good player, but at the end of the day, he's only defeated Damian Lillard and CJ that one time in the playoffs. That's pretty much been his impact, but that's about it. So a lot of these teams are going to view some of their younger players who didn't even make the playoffs yet. They're going to view their potential as almost being on the same level, because Drew didn't really do anything past that. Just one playoff series win. That's it. That's pretty much Drew Holiday, and a team got 3 first-round picks for that. I mean, we'll see. I think Dallas has a lot on their plate. They gotta figure out that KP situation. I mean, KP, right now, his health, man, and just that second knee surgery he had this offseason, he can't really get in his defensive stance like that. He can't really crouch down, get low like that. It's really affecting him. We seen Rudy Gobert drop like 30 points on KP, and teams are not afraid of attacking the hoop when KP is down there. So something is definitely off. The Knicks escaped that one, man. They really did, because to give him a max contract, with that type of performance, that type of inconsistency, not being on the court, that shit is crazy. And we'll see how much Luka in Dallas becomes impatient with that. Yeah, they can put Frank next to Luka if he did go to Dallas. Because Luka defensively, they can hide him through Frank. Because Dallas used to have a shooting guard that they did that with. They didn't really need him to really shoot like that. They kind of had him on the floor to hide Luka on the defensive end, because Luka spends most of his energy on the offensive end. So a guy like Frank, but I'm not sure if Frank could stay on the court for at least 30 minutes, because he may get into foul trouble. But it is what it is. I'll leave the phone lines open for a few more minutes. But once again, you guys definitely check out on the channel. There's a few things on the playlist. There's a few things that probably wouldn't come up on your timeline, but I've added them to the channel. It's actually on a different channel. There's other videos pertaining to things around the league that I just cover. And there's also NBA Moments Pivoted, where we just take a look back at some of the, nuances with some duos like Kobe and Shaq. I'm gonna do a video eventually on the Sacramento Kings of the early 2000s. We kind of look back at some of the nuances with some of these guys, and we hear directly from them. And I believe the Shaq and Kobe sit down that I did last year, man, it was one of the best ones on there, because there was a lot of things going on with those two guys, as far as just their relationship history. But that series is definitely on the playlist on the channel. It's called NBA Moments Pivoted. Yeah, but there's definitely other videos for things that are going on around the league's, business, things that's going on as far as other teams like the Lakers, anything around the league. I used to upload to this channel, but I started uploading it to a different channel. Just leave this basically about the Knicks right now. But yeah, definitely, you guys definitely check out the playlist on the channel. Definitely check out the Discord. I did a community chat where you guys can you guys could chat up during the games, or you guys could definitely hit me up on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter, especially during the games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But once again, I'll try to do the show probably not in the mid-afternoon again. Just doing a quick test run to see, what time you guys are available. But definitely sign up for the email list, or if you're already on the email list, you'll definitely get emails regarding to the start times of the live call-in shows. And also you'll get the number and all the information you need to call up. All right, so shout out to Bodega Boys. Bodega Wi-Fi. I don't know why I said Bodega Boys, but Bodega Wi-Fi and May 4th. Yo, May 4th is always dropping some gems on here, man. But Bodega Wi-Fi, man, definitely you said some dope shit about the I forgot one of the situations regarding to there was something you said earlier, man. I never thought of it like that, but that was a really good point. I'll go back in the chat, but I remember seeing what you put down in the chat. I was like, yo, I never really thought of it like that. But yeah, we definitely good to hear from you on the next live call-in show. So until next time, you guys stay safe in these Rona streets. And yeah, the weather is turning up in NYC, man. It's looking a lot better. Sundress season is approaching, so you fellas already know. And until next time, y'all stay safe. Peace.